Welcome to Fish TV Plus on FTS. I'm your host, Sammy, aka Pink Sammy on X. I am with my co-host, Eddie Chapo, the controversial Eddie Chapo. Eddie, welcome back to another edition of Fish TV Plus on FTSM.
Great to be here, Sammy.
You know, I cannot. The more the season goes along, I can never understand this team. You know, it's that week. Last week was crazy. You know, that victory against the Bills. You know, to see those Bills fans walking away from the stadium with tears in their eyes. They're so sad, and and then my Daniel drives right into the elbow room. We're gonna talk a little bit about that, but I want to start with, what are your thoughts about the game it was against the Bills? That victory, this team, when they had a full week of preparation, they beat the Falcons. They didn't handle it. The Ravens was a mess, but basically they did walkthroughs.
4 days.
4 days, and they didn't get the plan. And Mike McDaniel is not the faster guy to react sometimes, so that probably had to do a lot about that. But I want to know your thoughts about the game was against the Bills.
Well, it was a surprise. They played well in every aspect of the game. Couple turnovers they shouldn't have had, but other than that, they played really well. They've played inspired football a couple games. This one they really seem inspired, especially with that after game celebration in the locker room. It was good to see. I had a weird feeling they were going to win on that one. I was going to text you. I didn't, just like I did about Atlanta, but this one felt different.
I'll tell you what, I was expecting that because Eddie's going to tell me he's going to. Because
yeah,
I'll elaborate after you're done. I'm sorry about that. Please go ahead.
No, it's fine. I just had a feeling, and I'm sick of hearing about the Bills took them lightly, and they never take Miami lightly. They beat the crap out of Miami every time they can.
I was doing the previous show with Fistanza and Bobby, and someone said that, but there's a plane flying above our stadium with Bills stuff, and like, I believe a lot in karma, and I said, it's not that the real is gonna get you. Karma gets you sometimes. And like, I was this close to think a 180 swing and say they're gonna win just because they're too cocky. The fan base, it doesn't have to do anything with the team, but
I know.
They might be overestimated. They may see this a cupcake, and as soon as the game started, the tempo of the game was crazy. That I didn't expect that hot of a weather and so much humidity for being basically a November game. But you can see from the beginning, first quarter, those guys were gassed.
Even Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, yes. I'm sorry. Yes. So what are your thoughts? Because he looked tired. You can appreciate the player he is. He's a beast. He's a tough guy, great athlete, great quarterback. No denying. But the guy can be a bitch.
He showed that in the game
because sometimes he flops like a soccer player. He starts whining the only Patrick Mahomes. I think the other guys I've seen in the league that complains as much to the referees, but just Alex takes us to a whole different level because he starts complaining to the referees and flopping and
he's a flop.
Hit his head.
Level flop.
That was way too much. So I want to know your thoughts because I still. It was unexpected to me that they look so tired just to start the game, on offense and defense.
Well, part of it is the weather, but part of it is they actually made him move around a lot. They chased him all over the pocket. It was nice to see. I mean, he could never get comfortable. I mean, one play he ran like 100 yards back and forth. I mean, he made a big completion, but he still the next play, or he might even ran. I'm not sure. But the next play, he was doubled over in the huddle, huffing and puffing. It might be married life. Who knows?
Yeah. Why not?
It was good. They played hard, Miami. They hit every time Buffalo made a catch, made a run. They hit. They knocked the ball out for once. They were really inspired, especially on the defensive side. And the offensive line were putting guys into the ground. It was nice to see.
They played through the whistle. They play every single play. They play hard. They, the physicality. There's been so much talk about the Dolphins being soft.
Yes.
You know, the Dolphins didn't seem soft at all at that game.
The
They
Bills
looked
looked
the
soft.
most physical team by far compared to the Bills that game.
It helps when you take some of the soft players off the field, like Phillips. To me, he was always a soft player.
No denying that, just because of the fact that he was always getting injured, and the fact that I call it, the story in Spanish, casi is almost. I call him casi because every single time he almost get to the quarterback, he almost get that sack, but he almost grabbed the guy like he did that. That play cost the Dolphins the game when he could not grab Herbert, and Herbert threw the ball and basically end the game for the Dolphins. So
absolutely.
And Bradley Chubb, talking about physicality, that resurgence for Bradley Chubb had to be studied because Bradley Chubb are playing great.
He's having a heck of a year.
He's either Jordan Brooks or Bradley Chubb should be the Dolphins player of the year.
Yeah, but Brooks is a machine. He was
Brooks. Have you heard the story about Brooks? Basically, he's the one responsible for taking the basket machine out of that.
He's the one that doesn't put up with crap. That's why he's got that C on his chest.
That's what the captain should do. That's the kind.
And that's why I was glad they didn't I'm kind of glad they didn't trade Chubb because he's a captain. He's a leader.
And he deserves to be a leader. A lot of people want him in trade for a 7th-round pick just to cost cut.
No, I did not.
We're gonna talk to a lot about culture a little bit with our special guest Steve Molloy. But there's so much talk about the culture during the offseason. What about culture during the season? Just because of the fact if you get rid of the guy like Chubb who's playing hard, who's the captain, who's the leader, and you basically throw the season away, you're not building a winning culture. If we lose because the other team is better, if we had to trade because the season has done everything, but the mentality about losing is different. I can agree with trading a player if someone really wants a player, the value is there. But just for the sake of, I'm going to trade just because of tank, I don't agree with that. What are your thoughts?
No, I don't like there's a lot of fans, they didn't do anything. Believe me, they tried to do things. They tried to trade some players. And if takes two to tango, as they say. And you're not just going to give somebody away. And I don't care if Buffalo offered 3 first-round picks for Waddle. I wouldn't trade them to Buffalo. Somebody else offered 3? Yeah, maybe. But even that, I'm really, really impressed with him lately. So that's somebody you need to build around. Him, A-Chain, Paul, them guys, Brooks. You got to keep these guys intact.
I agree with that. And again, my point in this is, I think we talked about this. As long as we don't know if the person who's going to make those picks is capable, you can have 5 first-round picks. Like Chris Weir had with the Dynamite Thompson trade, basically had the couple of years to have 5 first-round picks. If the correct person, the knowledgeable person, is not in there to make the picks, you're wasted. So I'm not gonna help myself in the foot twice by sending him to the Bills. Basically, have to every single reminder when they win the division every single time.
Not just that's going to be a low
That's
pick.
just stupid.
It's like a 2nd-round pick, and the 3rd round would be like a 4th-round pick. So it would be useless to do. He's worth way more than that. Like you said, look how much they gave up. If you give them up for that, that's ridiculous. Just to get Waddle, I mean, look what they did. So
yeah, and the contract is not a bad contract. If you told me they had to get rid of that contract, but that everybody in the media, everybody in ESPN, I've seen talk about the contract, has said that's basically a good contract.
Yeah,
so it doesn't make any sense for the Dolphins to trade that contract.
No,
so our special guest is here. Let's welcome Steve Molloy. Steve, welcome to Feast TV Plus on FTSN.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
I said it to you before the show. I had to say it to you in private. I'm gonna say it right now, Steve. You are one of the most knowledgeable people around, just because of the fact that my respect is based that sometimes I don't agree with you, but I respect you so much about the way you explain things, and the passion where you bring stuff, and the knowledge that I don't have to agree not to respect what I'm saying, so I have to start with that. So we have some differences on to it. Sometimes a lot of things you've been proven right. Some still remain to be seen. But I want to start with saying your thoughts about the game it was against the Bills. That was that was different. I didn't expect that. What are your thoughts about the games about the Bills, Steve?
Well, first off, you're too kind, Sammy.
Yeah, the truth, brother.
I appreciate it. I appreciate those kind words. Man, as Eddie was talking about earlier, I heard him. He said he was surprised about the Buffalo win, but on the same token, he had a good feeling about this game, and I did too. Now I didn't pick the Miami Dolphins to win. I
Neither
picked
did
the Buffalo, but I picked the Buffalo Bills to win 27-24.
Who can blame
I thought
you?
I thought it was going to be a close game. It's a divisional game.
Yes.
Miami, I felt was going to give Buffalo a fight. And at the beginning of the year when they played them, they almost, they could have won that game. I know almost doesn't count. Moral victories don't count, at least with me. But they did give a pretty good fight to them up there in their home. So
Yes.
as far as this game is concerned, this last week, hey, we beat a division rival. We beat the Buffalo Bills. These guys are always pounding on us, right? Every year, with the exception of 2023, we did beat them at home. But it looked to me, and I'm not taking any credit away from the Miami Dolphins. It was they were playing physical. They were prepared for this game on both sides of the ball. They played complementary football. They pounded the rock. They were consistent with that. Buffalo looked flat. I mean, they just looked flat coming in. They really did. And once Miami made that first score, I just had a feeling. I said, man, I feel that this team is going to win today for some reason. I was telling my wife, I said, I think they're going to win today. I said, I just have this feeling. Buffalo looks flat. Josh Allen looked flustered. And if it wasn't, to be honest, if it wasn't for those 3 turnovers by the Buffalo Bills, the 2 fumbles and the interception, where the interception just put a
dagger.
Yeah, that was a dagger in the game right there for Buffalo. But if it wasn't for that, Buffalo might have had a chance to come back, and I don't know if they would have won, but they would have had a chance to come back. But yeah, I'm happy, Eddie. I'm happy, Sammy, that the Miami Dolphins won. Anytime they beat a divisional opponent, especially Josh Allen and the Bills, I'm happy and I'm elated.
Absolutely. Eddie knows this because I said it so many times on Fins TV about the snowball effect. The Dolphins usually are okay, but in that first quarter, the injury is coming, and there's an injury or something weird, or that turnover you don't expect, and they don't recover. The game opened with Tua basically throwing an interception. We could debate all day if it was an arm punt or not. I'm not gonna get into that right now because I had a long conversation with the guys on Sunday about that. But the turnover happened, but what always happened didn't happen. They remain poised, they remain calm, Eddie. They look focused and they look prepared. Anthony Weaver has been criticized so many times. I think you and I just spoke a couple of times about he probably is a better head coach than offensive coordinator because he's a leader. He's the guy is disciplined, but the talent might not be there. But the Dolphins on defense look poised. Anthony Weaver, the game plan worked. They kept hitting their lanes, and they to the end of the play and beyond. Sometimes I was afraid that the flags were going to come out and say, the referees were going to start throwing flags at the Dolphins because they were playing really hard. What are your thoughts, Eddie?
I think the last 3 weeks, the defense has really come on pretty strong. I'll throw the Baltimore game out. They were in that game until they just said, you know what, this offense isn't going to do anything. And I think they got tired. I really do. I mean, look what they did. They shut out Atlanta pretty much. I mean, they shut out the Bills. I mean, they knocked the ball out of the Bills' hands. And that was beautiful to see. It's usually happening to us on a run like that. It was so happy to see it happen to Josh Allen with his little up the middle run I was like, here we go. And then somebody, I think it was Jordan Brooks, knocked the ball out. But Weaver's got him playing well. Defense was devoid of talent in the back end at the beginning of the year. And I think he was overcompensating for it with some schemes that just weren't working. So I think he kind of went back to just what worked last year, and they're starting to look like they did at the end of the year last year. They were a top 10 defense last year, and they're looking like it again.
And Juju Brents, what a steal, right? That guy was picked ahead of Ken Smith. So basically, they recouped the pick by picking him up.
He shut down so well. He shut down their big receiver. That guy usually kills us, and he shut him down with his size. As soon as he went out, they picked on Bonner, and that guy had a touchdown. The kid from Florida.
Get him out of here.
Coleman. That's it.
I was afraid when Bonner started playing the game. It's like, oh no!
Yeah, I was like, he's straight line, fast, speed, but that's all he is. I mean, you have to turn around and look for a football once in a while, and he didn't.
Yeah, Steve, I'm not I've never been a huge believer of Mike McDaniel. I think he's a good guy. I think he's I like the fact that he believes in his players, that he basically motivated two out of his funk. I think that's great. But as a leader of men, you are a military guy, so you know what basically the things that they see sometimes are necessary for those men to run through a wall. I don't have to explain you how that's done. But Mike McDaniel, for the last couple of weeks, I'm gonna throw away the Ravens game because I was talking to Eddie. That basically was a week where they didn't practice because it was 4-day week, and Mike McDaniel is so much detailed you can compensate on that. So let's throw it up as a bad grade, and let's concentrate on the Falcons game and the Bills game. On those two games, the Dolphins use a 6 offensive linemen. They ran away with the ball. They look poised. They look prepared. So I want to. It might be too late. That's not the debate over here. But do you think Mike McDaniel maybe found the right formula for the Dolphins in practice during the week, how to approach the game? What are your thoughts? I don't think it's I want to think.
No, it's not complicated. It's pretty easy. He didn't find the right formula. The formula has always been there. Mm-hmm. It's just that he's never used it. He's never been and when he did use it, he wasn't consistent with it.
Yeah.
And that's been the problem. Now, I don't want to burst anybody's bubble about, again, I give all the credit to the Miami Dolphins for beating the living crap out of the Buffalo Bills. But on those Achane runs, there were 2 long runs. If it wasn't for those 2 long runs, Achane would have had a 3.8 average, 76 yards on 20 carries. If it wasn't for those 2 long runs. And the 2 long runs, a lot of those, if you watch, a lot of missed tackles. I don't know if Buffalo was tired or they just weren't into the game, whatever. They weren't really tremendous blocks. There wasn't any blocking. The blocking wasn't that great. It wasn't that special. It's just that Achane is shifty. He's fast. You give him a seam, and he's strong enough for a little guy to break a few little tackles and go for the see the daylight. Once he sees daylight, he's gone. So I'm not. Achane is the shining star of this Miami Dolphins football team.
Absolutely.
Jalen Waddle, another shining star of this Dolphins football team. Patrick Paul, another keeper, right? Those guys are keepers. And just for your information, I got to throw that out there because I'm a little biased. I'm not from Houston, Texas. I'm from Miami, Florida, born and bred there. But I live in Houston, Texas right now. The 3 shining stars that are on the Miami Dolphins football team right now are from Houston, Texas.
That's awesome.
I had to throw that out there.
Yeah,
I had to throw that out there. But yeah, I think Mike McDaniel didn't find a formula. It just football 101. He's just never used it consistently. Can they continue to do that? We'll soon find out. I think using Brad Skill as the 6th man, I think that's a great idea. I'd really like to see another. I'd like for us to have a tight end that can block and catch the football. That's what I'd like to see rather than putting Brunskill in there. Brunskill's doing a solid job though. He's not an all-pro or anything like that, but he's playing solid. He's serviceable right now. He's doing what he has to do. But no, he didn't find the formula. I think it's always been there. hasn't used it and hasn't been consistent enough.
Absolutely. That's a great point by you, because you said something that made a lot of sense to me. I want to know, Eddie, what Eddie thinks about this. Agent basically did the same thing he usually does. The difference this time was he kept bouncing back and finding the hole, because sometimes they run like to a plot that he was their own better to the offensive line, like it gets stuck and comes back. But this time the Bills missed a lot of tackles, and that's not a good run defense, because before the game last week on Fins TV Plus, we talked about the run defense of the Bills not being so good. So, Eddie, want to know your thoughts? Do you see maybe I agree with Steve saying, but Mike McDaniel now has a basic kind of set the winning formula of, running the ball. He can be consistent going forward. What are your thoughts, Eddie?
Well, I think the best thing that he figured out was to use a sixth offensive lineman for once. That was the only bonus of some of the tight ends getting hurt. He had to, and maybe he figured this out. The other shining star, I don't know where he's from, Steve, but is Brewer. He's playing.
Aaron Brewer.
He's playing at an all-pro level at center. He really
100%.
is. You get him, you get Paul playing. It's a shame Daniels went out, because I think they'd have a lot stronger up the middle. But I mean, during the game, my dad and I were talking about Achane. He runs a lot harder and stronger than for a guy his size. He's a tough little bastard. He can break some tackles, and they need to sign him to a contract before he gets to his contract year and breaks the bank, because everybody will want him. But as for McDaniel, did he learn something? Maybe. I think it's just happenstance. It just happened to happen because of what happened. Because the tight ends got hurt. He put in Brunskill. Yeah. Brunskill has our tight ends are so bad at blocking. Now Brunskill is in there as a tight end, and he's picking up the guy good, and they're not having to double a guy on that edge, and it's nice to see. I mean, the one thing, before the game started, he called the timeout. People got mad at him. I didn't. He was yelling at the refs because the refs were wrong on what they were calling. And it's good to see him get mad finally, McDaniel. That's the first time I've seen him for 2 weeks, or to the past couple of weeks, yelling at referees. Usually he's just smiling or throwing his head back, but he actually yelled at the refs, and I liked it.
Yeah, absolutely. But, he shows an emotion which is different. And so I kind of like that, because that's basically one of the things that in the sidelines, he's so much time invested in the spreadsheet, like looking to the play and thinking about that. And the interaction with the players is so important. That's one of the reasons why, Steve, I think that's a good change from him, trying to be more involved in the present of the game rather than thinking about the plays. Because sometimes I do believe that Mike McDaniel is playing, it's like a chess player. He's setting up the table, I'm gonna do this play with this motion, and two plays over is gonna pay off, because I'm gonna scheme it for that. If you fail on the first play, your third play is done. So Mike McDaniel basically works against himself, outsmarts himself sometimes. So the fact that he's been more invested, more emotional in the sideline, I think that's good for the Dolphins. What do you think? What are your thoughts, Steve?
Yeah, 100%. Not that if he loses his job, he's not going to find another job, because he's going to be finding a really good offensive coordinator position somewhere for sure. But yeah, I think right now he's just frustrated. He's frustrated. He's mad the way that the season has gone the last 2 seasons. He's probably a little upset, and I'll say it, a little bit upset with Tua throwing the interceptions and things like that. So yeah, let's see if he continues to do that. I think he's just upset and pissed, and he's frustrated, and it's all of a sudden he's exploding, man. It's coming out, and who knows, maybe someone from the top, maybe Ross or someone, in the front office said, hey man, you need to show a little more emotion. You need to, show something, man. Or maybe it was a player, came up to him and said, hey man, show me you got some, you got some heart there or something. I don't know. It's just my speculation. And by the way, Aaron Brewer is from Dallas, Texas.
There you go.
Texas didn't get the show today. Talking about the front office, we had Champ Kelly as an interim head coach, and the Dolphins basically this week did something that I didn't expect to do during the season. They fired the two. I think they were the two of the higher ups of the scouting department. That kind of tells something. I didn't expect that. So what I want to know your thoughts, and first Steve and then Eddie. That sends a message because those guys have been there. One of those guys will be to the Shula days. The other probably the days once the days. It's been a long while since those guys been in the scouting department. What are your thoughts? Does that seem to change to the guard at the front office of the Dolphins?
No. Yeah, those two guys were in charge of player personnel. One of them had been there for 32 years, the other one for 26 years. So they've been there a long, long time. I think that was a great move. Whoever decided that, I'm sure it was Ross, and got some input from, who knows, maybe got some input from McDaniel and Champ Kelly. I don't know. It's my opinion that I feel that Champ Kelly will be the permanent GM. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I'm not a fly on the wall in the office in the Miami Dolphins facilities, but I feel that Champ Kelly will be here as the permanent GM. And then I also believe that Mike McDaniel will be here. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. And Tua will probably be here again next year as well. And that's just my feelings on that. And that may not be a bad thing, but I'll tell you one thing: Miami's is in cap hell right now, and this roster is not going to look the same next year as it does this year. And they started this year, right? They didn't make any big free agent moves other than Daniels. I mean, that was the biggest really move that they made, right? If I recall. Yes. So I think they're going to cut a lot of fat out next year. Don't be surprised if Chop is not Chop. Don't be surprised if Chubb is gone next year. Don't be surprised if some other players, on the defense, especially, a lot of them have signed a 1-year deal, a 1 and 2 year deals, and some of them don't have any guaranteed monies. Will they resign some more players? I don't know, but you got to remember, we're gonna have like 31 players that will be signed, and the rest will be unsigned. Okay, and we've got to sign the rookies that we draft, and right now we are minus, in cap. So, I mean, some folks say cap isn't real. It's real. The only thing is Miami Dolphins have been pushing the can down the road for so long that now they're going to have to pay the piper.
Absolutely. Eddie, what are your thoughts? I thought it was surprising that basically in season they fired the two of the top scouts of the scouting department. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a great start. It's needed to be done. They haven't 100%. Won a play. I was at the last playoff game, and I was a lot younger then. I will tell you that. That was 25 years ago. I still remember Lamar Smith running for the touchdown in the game.
I remember where I was, but it's been a while.
And Fiedler tried to lose that game. He kept throwing interception after interception. But no, I think it's a great start. They need turnover up there. They need somebody different to look at the way players play in college, and they need somebody that wants a different kind of player. They can't be scared of players that are leaders and men, and it seems like that has always scared this team off. You can't be scared to put competition against Tua. If you draft a guy, even if you don't think he's going to play next year, and say there's a quarterback where Miami drafts and they want that guy, take him. Don't worry about Tua's feelings. Make him compete for the job. I don't know if they're going to get a quarterback. That's just an example I'm coming up with. I
get it.
They needed a fresh start, and I'm with Steve. I believe Kelly's going to have a great shot at keeping this job. He's well respected around the league. I've heard nothing but good things about him. He almost got the Denver job, and he was a finalist in another job. So he's got a great backstory. He's worked for everything he's done. So he's not something that's been given to him, has been given to him because his dad was here or his brother was this or whatever. I'm not talking about Greer either. But
No.
yeah.
Yeah, you are.
But if he deserves it, for God's sakes, keep him. If he doesn't think McDaniel can do the job, let him do what he wants to do. You can't handcuff guys. And I know Hill will be gone next year, or he'll have to sign some kind of really friendly. That'll knock a lot of the cap off. But even with him, I think restructuring it only gives them $1 million, or not restructuring, cutting them. It still only gives them like $1 million in cap space.
Yeah.
Chubb, I hate to see him go, but they're probably going to have to get rid of him. Because if I'm him, I'm not taking a pay cut at that age. I'm going to go say, no, cut me, and I'll go win somewhere.
Right.
That's what they're going to have to do. It's going to hurt, but they're going to lose some guys we like. But they have to restart and redo it the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. They have to get their finances in order first before they even think about free agency and the draft and all this stuff. They've got to cut that fat out. Then they can like you said, Eddie, a fresh start. And you know what? If they're doing it the right way, I'm willing to wait 2 or 3 years for them to be competitive again.
Absolutely. What I want your opinion on this. What really worries me is that if Kelly is the right guy, who he could probably be. It's been said that he's very capable. I have not read or heard anything bad about him. If he gets the job, that would be great. But I would like for the Dolphins to say, okay, you are the GM. You had the whole half of the season to evaluate McDaniel. If you want him, keep him. If not, get the guy you want. Because if not, it's rinse and repeat. He's gonna be tied up to McDaniel, and Tua is gonna be the same thing. But I agree. I've been saying it for a couple of weeks now. I agree. I agree with Steve. I think Kelly's gonna come back next year. They're gonna try to bring the back together for one more tour next year with McDaniel and Tua. And it gives him, maybe it's the same thing. Maybe it gives one more year to Kelly to evaluate the situation. If it doesn't work, he can make up his mind. If he moves also on Tua, he moves on from both. But it's worrisome because you cannot say, okay, if you keep them both, you are the GM. You have to allow him to say, okay, if you want to deal with them, this is the kind of situation that we're tight on money. We're tight on Tua. McDaniel has 3 more years to go on his contract, and he probably deserves another chance. But it's your call. What are your thoughts, Steve?
Yeah, no, I'm willing to give McDaniel another chance. I mean, it's what's it been for? This is going on his 4th year right here, and he just signed a contract. Go ahead, fulfill the contract at least 1 year. Tua Tagovailoa, that would be a tremendous hit on the cap. Let him play it out this 1 more year. Knock on wood, he's been healthy this year, and take it from there. And maybe not draft a quarterback next year. Maybe you draft a quarterback in 2027, and then you cut ties with Tua, and maybe you get a stopgap, backup, or maybe yours turns out to be your guy. I don't know. But those are just options that we're kicking around. I don't know, and I don't think any of us really know what they're going to do. But I would like to see them, maybe keep Champ Kelly, keep McDaniel another year, even though I hate to say it. Keep Tua for another year, and then just start cleaning house, and getting those finances together. And then, like I said, I personally, as a Miami Dolphins fan, I've waited 25 years for them to win a playoff game. I think I can wait another 2 or 3 years for them to have a competitive team. And I mean a team that is going to be competitive enough where we're confident at the beginning of the season and we can say, you know what, this is a playoff caliber team every year. because when you get in the playoffs, it's a whole different ball game, right? Once they get into playoffs, if they make it to the playoffs, right, then we can start talking about Super Bowl. Even though the goal should be Super Bowl from the beginning of the year, you got to make it to the dance first, and then you got to take it from there, because it's a whole different ball game during playoff season.
Absolutely. Eddie, what are your thoughts? My worries are if they don't give complete autonomy to Bailey to make the decision, then he's tied to bring them, because even if he doesn't want to, then you have a problem next year too, because they're going to be tied up. So I do believe that they should give Kelly, if he's the guy, let him decide the fate of Tua Madara. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you have to give him full autonomy. You have to let him make the decision, no matter what. Whatever, if that's who you're going with. Now, I'm not saying they should just hand him the job. Should they do some research? They're probably doing it now, I hope. But I hope it's somebody that knows something about football that's doing research, and not somebody that's
ideally
had Steve Ross's ear the past how many ever years, because whoever does needs to stop talking to him. But if they do give it to Kelly, it's his choice. If that's what he wants, if he thinks McDaniel, maybe, hey, McDaniel wanted or needs different kinds of players for his scheme, then you go get him the players. If that's what he thinks is why it's not working with McDaniel right now, that's what you do. If you want him to, if he wants McDaniel gone, let him fire McDaniel and get the coach he wants. Tua, you're burdened with him. You're stuck with him. I mean, you could Russell Wilson him, and it's about the same contract thing, but I don't know if you can really do that. You're probably going to have to keep him an extra year. I did a little research here. If they do cut Chubb and Tyreek Hill, they will have $20 million in space, but that's not a lot of money, especially when you only have about 29 players if you cut them to on the roster. I mean, you got some good young blocks. The defensive linemen, they're finally coming around, especially
yes, they are.
Phillips looks really good, especially against the run game. I just think it's hilarious. He has the same name as the lazy guy we had for all the years. But so you got some stuff, like Steve said. I'm willing to, if I know they're going to have a good future, it's better than what I felt like at the beginning of the year. I felt hopeless. I'm going to be completely honest. And as soon as they fired Greer and then these two moves, I said, you know what? Maybe they're doing something different. And it gave me a little hope. And it wasn't just because they beat Buffalo. You could take that out of the whole equation. They're actually trying different things.
Right.
And it's nice to see.
Yeah.
I agree with that, because I did not. I want to know your thoughts about this. I did not expect them to make a move. If they made a move, I thought they would. I say, I've been consistent saying they were not going to fire Mike McDaniel during the season. Chris Greer is not going to fire. I didn't believe that. I thought Stephen Ross gave that contract extension to McDaniel, so he's going to keep him. Then he fires Greer. I'm like, wow, that says a lot, because when you fire basically the GM first, you're saying that the coach is safe because it's the GM's fault by not giving the players he deserves. So people are looking that way, but that's an endorsement kind of on Mike McDaniel, because you're saying it's easy for me to fire the guys who's picking the players. I cannot fire the players, but I'm gonna fire the guys who's picking the players, because it's out of the coach's hands that this team is not rightly constructed. So Steve, for me, was a surprise when they fired Chris Greer, because I would expect them both to go or neither to go until the end of the season. So that's basically a silent vote of confidence Mike McDaniel, saying, the GM had to go because he didn't do the job of giving you the best players he could. Steve?
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was listening to you, man. You were making some great points.
On a roll.
Yeah, he was.
They don't even talk about so I have to talk here. You guys listen, so
okay.
I'm good.
Okay. No. I was surprised on the Greer move. I really was. I thought Chris Greer was going to be a lifer here, At least it seemed like that. At the rate he was here for what 20 something years, and he was the GM for almost 10 years. So I thought he was gonna, I thought Ross was happy with him the way things were going. So I was shocked, but at the same time I was like, yeah, I've been crying for this for at least 3 years now. What was the other question? I'm sorry.
No, basically the fact that it's surprising because he found a way to fire the general manager, saying, giving a lot of confidence to Mike McDaniel, saying it's the fault of the. Eddie says so many times, he's been saying it for the last couple of years, the team is not rightly constructed. This team has good player, but it's not constructed the right way. So basically saying to Mike McDaniel, look, the GM, which usually the GM is never fired by himself during the season. You get fired both, or the coach gets fired, but the GM usually doesn't get fired. So by firing the GM is saying to Mike McDaniel, listen, you did the best you could with the players we gave you.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I think that's why they're going to give Mike McDaniel another year. They're going to say, all right, man, we got the GM in place, which hypothetically, let's say it's Champ Kelly, right? We got the GM in place. You and him talk, communicate, and you guys decide on the players that you want for you, Mike McDaniel. And we're gonna give you those players, and then take it from there and see what we're giving you, what you want, make it happen. That's what I think they're doing.
Absolutely, Eddie. That was my surprise. Basically, they fired the GM and not both, because by firing the GM, they say to Mike McDaniel, what you said so many times, this team is not rightly constructed. We should have done something we didn't. So it's not on you. A silent vote of confidence, kind of, to Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, it was surprising. I thought there'd be a tweet coming out a couple hours later, we've parted ways with the head coach. But I don't know if it's just something he didn't want to do at this point, or not. But you're right. I have said that they're built completely wrong. They're built from you got to be kind of like a baseball team. You have to be strong up the middle first, and then you get your edge. And everything we did, they did, the Dolphins did, was outside. Receivers, cornerbacks, spending the money on corners, spending the money on receivers, not spending really a dime up the middle. I mean, if you could have paid Robert Hunt if you didn't spend money on Jalen Ramsey, who turned in. There's probably the best thing Chris Greer did before he left was he got something for Jalen Ramsey.
That trade. I called it for the trade.
He's getting burnt all the time. And Minka, look at the play. He made a couple great plays the other day. He's still the best safety we got. He's not an all-pro, but he's still a good safety. Yeah, you have to build. You have to be strong up the middle. That's why they're a little bit better now, because the rookies up the middle are playing better on defense. Jordan Brooks, as good as he is, the better them two guys are in front of him, the better he's going to be, because they eat up guys, he's going to fly back. That's why they having tackles for loss now. They got guys that are eating up linemen. And I don't know if you guys watched the film on Jordan Phillips the other day, but it was amazing. He has some he stays low, but he almost does a split with his legs. I've never seen it before. Usually your leg, you bend your knees, stay low. But he kind of does a split and he drops his knee, and them guys couldn't get rid of him. And then he disengaged and knocked and was making plays. If not, here came Brooks up the center. Yeah, you have to build up the middle. You have to. And
I think Jordan Brooks is the biggest proof of what you've been saying for the last couple of years. Chris Greer got good players. He found a way to bring talent to the Dolphins, but the way he built the team is a problem. So having said that, I've been talking about, this will be our last point before we go talk about the Commanders game. I want to ask you both guys, the team building is important. We established that already. So if we're going to have embarked on a real rebuild, should the Dolphins be thinking more on building the lines and then getting a young quarterback? Or how many fans are saying, no, let's get the young quarterback now and get out of tier 2 and just get a young guy there when he's probably going to get killed behind a horrible offensive line. What are your thoughts, Steve? Should we build basically the trenches first, and then when you have two out of the books, get the young quarterback and work on those savings for a couple of years? Or should we look for the quarterback before building the trenches after?
Well, I want to piggyback on what Eddie said about we don't invest in the O-line.
Yes.
We have invested in the O-line. It's just we haven't had the talent.
Yes.
Chris Greer didn't bring in, we got rid of, we had Solomon Kinley. We got Liam Eichenberg. We've had others. So we put the money in the line. It's just that those folks didn't turn out, right? Austin Jackson, he's okay. He's not all pro, but he was a high draft pick. Remember that. So we have invested in the line. And then injuries, we got the injury bug. When we had a really good O-line at the beginning of the season, and then they started dropping like flies. So we have invested in the O-line. And the reason why the defense, I think, is playing better now is, as Eddie has mentioned earlier, these rookies are playing a lot better. They're starting to find their groove. They're learning the tricks of the trade. They're adjusting to the speed of the game. And also, our defensive backs, we were last in the league in the beginning of the season, the first 3, 4, 5 games of the season.
Yes.
We are now ranked 13th in passing defense. So we have gone from almost the bottom to 13. So we've made a lot of improvements in the back end of our defense as well. And not only that, but the rookies are starting to catch on as well. And as far as Jordan Phillips goes, the guy's a monster. He got tremendous strength and leverage. He can do a military press of like 400 pounds.
Yes.
So he's a strong man.
Wrestler.
So he's awesome. A wrestler too. Exactly. So that helps with his leverage and all that other good stuff. As far as getting a rookie quarterback, if we get a rookie quarterback, it really all depends. Look, if we keep Brewer, we're going to keep Paul. He's going to be a staple. Zephaniah is going to be with us. All right. He signed a rookie guaranteed contract, right? So he's going to be with us. We'll probably be looking at we'll probably be going for an offensive tackle and a guard. We definitely need another tackle and another guard. Well, Austin Jackson can fill the gap for maybe another year, but then he's injury prone, right? He's always getting injured. But I think we're looking for another guard and another tackle. So, yeah, I think we should build the trenches, the O-line for if we do draft a quarterback, for sure. But he's going to need some weapons too. We got Achane, so he'll probably be a staple. We got old Ollie Gordon. I think we should keep him. I think we should keep Jalen Wright. We should probably get another big fullback, another Ollie Gordon type guy, just in case Ollie gets hurt. You got another guy to fill his spot, right? Another power back. So I think we're set up as far as the O-line goes, with the exception of maybe getting another guard or a tackle. Now, maybe that could be in the draft. Maybe that can be in free agency. I don't know. Wide receivers, we got Jalen Waddle. I think he's going to be here. Malik Washington is a good number 3, number 4 guy, and he's a good utility type player. He can do return kicks, punts, all that stuff. He's a physical wide receiver too for his size. I like Malik Washington. He's a keeper for sure. We're probably going to need. I like to see if we get another rookie. If we get a rookie quarterback, I like to see him have a couple taller receivers. Wide receivers. We definitely need that. And a tight end. Good all around blocking tight end. That's what we need as well. But yeah, I think we should set the a rookie quarterback up for success, 100%. Don't just throw him in here with a, half-ass and expect him to be successful. But if you do throw him in with, let's say, crappy O-line and maybe not so good wide receivers, you may only have one wide receiver or whatnot that's, like a Waddle or something like that. If that rookie shines or he shows flashes with this type of offense, kind of a hodgepodge of offensive players, then you got a keeper in the quarterback.
Absolutely. Eddie, my mentality is basically, Tua's contract is going to loom large for the next couple of years. So, it's been said that the teams take advantage of a rookie salary quarterback when the savings are there. So, can the Dolphins basically, wait a little bit to get that quarterback and build the lines first and then get the quarterback, or should the Dolphins go head first, as so many fans want right now? Next year, rookie quarterback. What are your thoughts?
It depends. It depends on who's there. If there's a quarterback that is a can't miss, you take him. You don't care about anything else. That is your franchise.
100%.
If there's a Mahomes type, or I don't know if there is. I really don't. Just
Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah, I love him. He'll probably get ruined by the Jets. But
yeah, he will.
If you have conviction on a quarterback, you take them right there. You don't care about any other position. That is who you need to build your franchise. There are guards you can get in the third round that can be all pro and pro. You just have to know what you're looking at. And Solomon Kinley, people like that were not it. Jackson was a reach in the first round at where he was. Eichenberg, you traded up to get him. He's the only offensive lineman from Notre Dame that never worked out. It's what it seems like to me. Every other one is
true.
Yeah.
So many. Tim Roddy, somebody else.
You're right, Eddie.
There's somebody else I'm missing. I shouldn't have said they didn't invest. They just didn't know what they were investing in with their line.
Right.
And then you sign a guy like Daniels. I don't blame him for signing Daniels, but you knew he was an injury risk. That's probably the only reason you got him, was because he was an injury risk. He would have big contract.
Eddie, that was a Greer special right there, man.
Yeah. It just didn't work out. Like always. But there's a ton of linemen he's missed on, and I swear every time that man traded up for a player, it just like cursed the player.
Absolutely. Well, great conversation. Let's talk a little bit about the Bills. Let's see if you can do some magic over here. Let's try to do this. Let's see if we can do this. There you are, guys. Awesome. We finally did it. Awesome. Okay. Here's a new report. The Dolphins traveling to Spain on a Monday of all weeks because they want to, sell in the weather, time sync. That's all beautiful. But the Dolphins have not been very successful on trip to Europe. So I'm kind of worried about that. And all of a sudden this week, all players are go. They feel better. They out of the injured list, so many of them. So, it doesn't have to do anything with the nice free train to Spain. Is because they casually feel a lot better. I'm just saying, you guys. The injury report is over here. A lot of limited, and that doesn't change a lot. Let me see if I can basically go to the, over here. Okay, how they compare. This is interesting because the Commanders at now the 18th ranked offense, but of course they're missing their quarterback, so that says a lot. That guy looks so more promising. Hopefully that doesn't happen to see the same hit that happened to RG3, a quarterback so promising that the curse of the rescuing commander quarterback, Theismann, so many others of being great, and they get their injury bug and fade away. The Dolphins with the 29th ranked offense there. Like Commanders, like I said, with the 18th on the passing offense, 24 to 26. So basically, even with Daniels, that passing offense is not that strong. The rushing offense at 7th, with the Dolphins right now at 23rd, but the Dolphins have been running the ball better the past couple of weeks. On defense, Dolphins with a 24th ranked defense, and the Commanders with a 30th ranked defense. On passing defense, 13th for the Dolphins, 31st for the Commanders, 26th rushing defense, and 23rd. The Dolphins running defense has played better the last couple of weeks. I want to start with Eddie, then with Steve. What pops have you, when you see that? What pops to you? What do you think that makes me go? That's kind of make me go think about the Dolphins might have a chance to win, have a nice win this week, Eddie.
You know what makes me nervous? Marcus Mariota having another good game against Miami.
Me too.
Tua Tagovailoa's hero. Yes.
I'm with you, brother.
It's just that as good as I felt last week, I feel bad this week. They're almost. I know their Russian offense is 7th, but a lot of that is because of the Daniels and his RPO thing. I think they got a few players out. I know like half their defense is out, but that never stops a team from beating Miami. That only stops Miami from beating other teams when they have players out.
True story.
Giveaways. Everything's pretty even on this. I mean, back and forth even. So yeah,
right.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be a close game, a lot closer than people think, and it's definitely not going to be a walkover like people think just because we beat the Bills last week.
Absolutely.
I'm nervous. That's all I can tell you. I hate being nervous. Before I wasn't nervous because they stunk, and then they beat the Bills. Now I'm nervous again.
Now you have expectations again. Those expectations always work. Steve, is anything you see about that? That rushing offense of the Bills, like Eddie said, with a good running quarterback, that always works out. But the Dolphins running defense has been playing a little bit better the last couple of weeks. And, the defense of the Bills, the Commanders, total defense 30th. So basically a worse defense than the Dolphins. But 394 yards per game, that's a lot. And they're missing a lot of players. But Eddie said anything happened. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with Eddie. This game kind of reminds me of the game where we remember when we beat the Denver Broncos 70 to whatever it was, and then Mike McDaniel and all of them, we got cocky and they were wearing the "I want it colder" shirts. Then they went up to Buffalo and Buffalo clobbered them. That's the kind of feeling I have right now. But what stands out to me the most is the rushing offense. They got Merritt is a decent running back. I think they have running back by committee, if I'm not mistaken. And you gotta remember too, Mariota hasn't been playing bad. I mean, he's a above average quarterback. And he can run. He's very mobile. And that's what has me nervous is his mobility. And he can throw the ball, but that's what stands out to me the most. But like you said, Sammy, we have been playing better against the run. Hopefully, this is a combined of the whole year. So, I think the last 3 or 4 games, Miami's probably has been, maybe top 10 in the running defense. So we can't go by that as a whole, I think. So, but that's what stands out to me the most. Again, Miami's rushing defense has been better, a lot better. I think they're got to be in at least the top 10, maybe top 15. Passing defense has improved immensely. Let's hope that they do what they did against Buffalo, right? I know McLaren is out. He's one of their decent receivers for the Commanders. Their best defensive tackle is out. And as Eddie said, there's others they got a lot of injuries. They do spread the ball out a lot. Yes. Even though their passing game is not, it's 26, they still spread the ball a lot to different receivers and their running backs. So Miami's defense is going to have a job on their hands. It's not going to be a pushover like Eddie said. I think it's going to be a close game. But that's my 2 cents, for what it's worth.
I think they'll have trouble with Ertz. because he's a good tight end and he knows how to find a hole.
Yeah, Ertz. Yeah, good point. Yep.
Dan Quinn's taken over the play calling for defense, which is a little worrisome. He's a very good defensive coordinator, and I'm worried about a 2-touchdown game from Noah Igbenogany returning 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Yep. That'd be crazy.
Another great.
Yeah, awesome. I think they basically, if the Dolphins stick to the plan, to the game plan of last week, it might work with the Commanders too. Mobile quarterback, good tight end, running game, play hard on D. So the game plan for last week kind of works for this week too. So the adjustment's always there. But that game plan is very similar. So if the Dolphins keep the mindset that week and they don't get cocky that we talk about, and that trip to Spain, ole, they've been eating tapas and dancing flamenco, all that stuff they've been doing this week over there. The Dolphins might have a chance. I checked the weather because the weather had me kind of worried, but I said rain. It's raining. Oh no, it's a dome team. It's a dome game. So the Dolphins,
right.
Yeah, that closes that roof.
Yeah. I was afraid for a minute there.
Just like ours should. Why he didn't spend the extra money to have a retractable roof, I don't know. But that's his money.
Yeah,
not mine.
I agree.
But that could always happen. I remember one time that they said that they could do that with the engineering they did for the stadium. So who knows? So let's go to the predictions. I want to start with Eddie and then go to Steve. Do the Dolphins with this game, Eddie?
No. I'm not going to pick them. They're going to lose 24-21.
24-21. Okay,
you know what you, Steve?
Yeah, I know what you're doing. I'm not going to say it, but I know what you're doing. How about you, Steve? The Dolphins win the game.
Man, this Buffalo game really gave me a great big shot of hopium. It really did. It really did. But I'm kind of, I don't know, man. This team is like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You know what I mean? It's like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get,
Absolutely.
Man, I've been wrong. I think this whole year with the Miami Dolphins, I've been wrong. I'm going to say Miami's going to win this game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. When I say low-scoring, I mean in the 20s. I think the score is going to be 23-17. Miami wins this game.
Oh, that's interesting. I hope I don't regret it, but I have not been picking the Dolphins for a couple of weeks now. But that's not here or there because I picked against them and they won last week, and I picked against them and they lost, like I said they would. But I think that, like I said, the game plan, if they stick to the game plan for last week, probably works for this week. The distractions are there. They try it very early. That kind of worrisome. But I think they're going to beat the Commanders, and they're going to be on their way to probably 6-7. 6-7, and we'll see what happens. So, Steve, you've been great. Again, how much I respect you. Where they can find you on Real Talk on Fifth Sports Network. Where you're on Wednesday sometimes. You're on Tuesday sometimes. I'm selfish over here. I want you Wednesday, my brother, so I can see you because sometimes we're against each other. So I want you Wednesday, so I can watch your show. So what you have cooking over there?
Well, I'm on every Tuesday night at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time on the Finstock Sports Network. And as you set up, sometimes I'm on Wednesdays. And usually I start a little earlier on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This upcoming Tuesday, I'll be on at 6:30 Central Time, but 7:30 Eastern Time on Tuesday. I'll be on Real Talk Finstock. But that's where you can find me. Usually on Tuesdays. I used to do a pregame, but this year I've kind of got discouraged from doing that. But I'm on Twitter every once in a while. That's my playground, Twitter. Sometimes I just kind of play around on there and have fun. Then other times I'm serious. But that's where you can find me at Steve Molloy 1972 on Twitter.
That's what's fun about you. You don't know if you're serious or not because you never know where Steve Molloy is going, but it's always there. Eddie, you're on social media too. Where can I find your social media to follow you on X?
I'm somewhere on there. I don't even remember my handle. That's my problem.
Yeah, at Eddie Chapel. Come on.
That's it. That is it.
Come on.
You're banned. You're banned from Twitter.
That's been great.
I'm
You know,
I'm not.
don't start with the band thing, Eddie. Let's not do that tonight. Steve, you've been great. You know, we
Thank you.
Next week on Fins TV, we're gonna be out for next week. We're gonna take a bye. Eddie and I are gonna discuss if you're gonna have the Fins TV Plus on Thursday. We're still working those things out. So please follow us on X, on Twitter, whatever you want to call it. We're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're anywhere. Over almost 300 watching all platforms. So considering it's a Thursday night, a game week, it's a great turnout. So thank you everybody for watching. Let's hope for the best. And so Adrian. Rainy in the chat. As I always say, at least we have each other. So, peace up, brother.
Fins up.
Thanks for watching Fins TV. Please like and subscribe. See you next week. Fins up.